I'm your host, Mike.
And I'm the co-host, Megan. I'm also the editor and producer and creator of this podcast.
You're supposed to let me introduce you.
No.
Okay.
I'm done with that life.
You don't really understand how this works as the co-host.
I've taken over.
No one will refute that. That's absolutely correct. We got a good one for you today. We've got our good friend Kevin Kehoe on. Kevin is first and foremost a dad, but he's also wears a lot of different hats. He's a respiratory therapist. He's a coach. Does a lot of CrossFit.
He's not just a dad.
He's a drummer.
He's a twin dad.
Yeah, so this episode is really neat because we have our first twin parent on.
Mm-hmm.
So Kevin and his lovely wife Shayna had twins, a little over 4 years ago now, and he's been in it. He's been in the trenches now, taking care of two babies and infants and toddlers and now little kiddos.
It's a really good interview. I really enjoyed it, and I'll do my recap at the end.
Yeah, so without further ado, here is Kevin.
Enjoy.
All right, so we're here with my good friend Kevin Kehoe. How's it going?
Great. Just wrapped up bedtime.
Nice. Yeah, we were just chatting about that before hopping on. So I think, Kevin, we met through Shayna, who is your lovely partner. I met Shayna through our good friend Will Brown.
Yeah.
And so we've known each other now for, it's got to be like 12 or 13 years, something like that.
Yeah.
It's a pretty long time. All right, so Kevin's got twins. So this will be a fun conversation. We haven't had anybody on the podcast with twins. But before we get there, I like to start and end these podcasts with the same kinds of questions. So the first question I've got for you today is, did you always want to be a parent? If so, why? If not, what brought you to parenthood? Just kind of how'd you end up here?
I've worked with kids for as long as I can remember. I started babysitting at 12. I was a camp counselor. I was a lifeguard. I've worked in the hospital for, going on 15, 16 years now. And I've worked in pediatric ICUs, neonatal ICUs. So I've been around kids and young kids my whole life. And I've loved working with them. And honestly, there's been times where I've wanted to be a parent when I was 18, 19, just because I thought, this is what you do. You get married, you have kids. And then as I got into my 20s and real life kind of started happening, all of a sudden I didn't want kids for the longest time, just because I was afraid of not so much the responsibility of raising a child. It was more like, I know I wasn't emotionally capable of doing it at the time. And that's not to say that somebody who is 18, 25, 30 isn't. That's just not where I was at the time.
Sure.
That's just me personally. And then it's kind of funny. We got married in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID happened in 2020, right? And we don't need to get into that. But
Sure.
There came a point where I was in my house day after day, and Shayna would either be working, and I was a shift worker. I was a respiratory therapist working night shift. And there were times where I would be doing projects around the house, but then I would have a lot of downtime, like 2 or 3 hours. And I'd be kind of like, it would be nice to have a little, like, buddy to hang out with, like a little friend.
Sure.
And so towards the end of 2020, I looked at Shayna and said, hey, what are your thoughts on having children? And we had talked about this prior to the conversation, and she and I kind of were on the same page. And then she needed some time to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward, here we are with 4-year-old twin girls.
Yeah.
And honestly, man, it's the best.
Yeah.
It's so fun. And I forget the times I didn't want to be a parent necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, man, this is the greatest job in the world. It really is.
Yeah, it's funny. It's interesting that at 18, 19, you were like, yeah, I want to do this. Although, of course, you mentioned, like, it is, you're sort of, when you're younger, you just think, like, this is what things work, right? And then when you get older and you start thinking for yourself more and you start recognizing that, like, it doesn't have to be a particular way, to end up in a space where you're sort of like, no, I don't think I want to do this. I do think, because I'm on my own journey here with emotional stuff where, like, I've been in therapy for the last 2 years and, like, really trying to overcome, like, a lot of stuff that I went through as a kid. And I will admit, and I've said it on the podcast, that, like, when I had snuz, I was not a good dad. Like, I had a lot of stuff, and there was a variety of things that I had to deal with. And it is interesting that you bring up that emotional component of it, because it is an emotional thing. Like, you want to create children, whether they're boys or girls, you want to create children that are able to regulate, that you are able to be there for and support them in a variety of contexts. And I mean, kudos to you for recognizing, like, I'm not in a place where I can provide that. But clearly now you are, right? So that's, good for you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. You mentioned therapy, and I'm proud of you for doing that. I had actually shared it was in June, it was Men's Mental Health Month this past year, that I had gone to therapy. And it's something I don't really share a lot, but I'm trying to be better about it now. I had gone to therapy back in college, and then 2 years after college, and then 2 years after that. I saw 3 different therapists. Each, I think, was like 12 sessions. But I never told anybody about it, just because I didn't want anybody to worry about me.
Sure.
My parents, my friends, my girlfriend, anybody. And I think it was covered by my insurance, first of all. So it's like you're getting, it's already covered.
Yep.
It's paid for. So why would you not do this if you feel like you need it? And I had a stable, intact childhood. I had really good parents, in my opinion. But yeah, like, I had a lot of issues to work through, and I'm looking back and now looking at myself as a parent. I'm proud that I did that, because I'm able to kind of regulate myself. And I think it's okay for guys to recognize that and say, I need some help. And I think that it can definitely, as a new dad especially, whether you have twins, singlet, triplets, whatever, it's really hard for the first year for the dad, right? Because it's like, baby doesn't want you, man. Baby wants mom.
Yeah.
24/7. And I think every dad is like, where do I fit in? I'm not bonding with this child, And I think I've heard that so much from dads. And I guess, I don't know, I never really felt that way myself, but I can definitely see how it could be a thing. And I think, you can feel sort of that loneliness of that lack of bonding with your new baby.
Yeah.
And then that can manifest into other things. So I think I'm very proud of you for going to therapy and working out these things.
Yeah.
It's great.
I mean, and I've talked about this on the podcast, but I did not bond with my first one for at least that first year. It was very, very difficult. I had a very, very hard first year. She was colicky, and sleeping was a thing. So, there were extenuating circumstances. But I think even if it had been everything had gone fine, I still think I wouldn't have bonded. And it did take me going to therapy to, like, recognize sort of where I'm at with my mental health. But you brought up the, like, that, and this is not really necessarily related to parenthood, but I think with guys, I think it's important to note that, like, therapy is not for people with trauma, right? It's for everybody. Like, everybody can benefit from sitting down with hopefully an objective person, and just saying, here are some things that I'm thinking, and then bouncing those off of people. Because, I have many friends, I've got lots of good positive relationships, when I say, here's how I'm feeling or thinking, they're not trained to necessarily help me work through those things, or they're not necessarily going to respond in an objective way, whereas a therapist is. A therapist is not going to, let you, sort of, if they're a good therapist at least, you can't get over on them, right? You can't be like, well, this and that. They're going to be like, I don't know about any of that. But
yeah. Well, I think this is a good question I got recently after I shared. So this was a reel that was taken by a nurse practitioner, and she posted it. And a guy came up to me a few months after, and he said, "Hey, I saw your reel. First of all, thank you. I need some advice about therapy." And I was like, "Okay." And he says, "Should I have a male therapist or a female therapist?" And I said, "Well, it depends." And I said, "I'm sorry, that's the answer. Personally, I would want a male therapist because they know how guys think."
Mm-hmm.
And I made a little Sopranos reference, and I don't know if you ever watched The Sopranos, where his therapist is like, this really cute girl, and he gets a crush on her, and this whole thing that goes on.
Gotcha.
Anyway, but I think it's really easy for. Well, I guess I'll use myself as an example. My sessions, I would just talk for 45 minutes.
Yep.
I think the therapist would say maybe 3 things to tease something out of the question or tease something out of what I said. And that was it. And at the end of the session, he'd be like, "See you next week." And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And it was great. And I honestly, it was just a big brain dump. I just feel like I just rinsed my head out. And then I went on with my day.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, I was like, wow, all that stuff that I just unloaded is now out in the open. And somebody has heard it. Let's move on.
Yeah. I think the other thing that's nice is that at least I'll speak for myself. I can say things in therapy, and test out what it's like to say things out loud without a feeling of judgment, and bringing it back to parenthood. And I've mentioned this on the podcast, but Dave Blumenthal, somebody else that mutual friend of ours, he's probably the best version of an objective friend, because there have been many times, especially when I had my first, there were some specific moments, but there have been many times where I've said things out loud to him that are hard things to hear, and his response is always just kind of like, that sounds tough, tell me more about it. And I think that is the true power of therapy, is that I can say things in this space, and they may be awful, terrible things, but I can put them out there in the world, and then I can talk them through with somebody who, is at least at face value not judging me, so that I can then hopefully go out in the world and feel more comfortable saying those things out loud, because they don't do anything positive if they stay in my head.
Sure.
Those thoughts, whatever they might be, there's no positive energy that's going to come forth of them staying in my head. They have to come out. They have to be out there.
Yeah. Well, and to also relate this all to parenting, I didn't truly understand it until my kids started to walk and talk. But my kids, I'm just going to use my kids as an example, but they mirror everything Shayna and I do. Everything.
Yep.
They'll repeat everything. They do all of our little nuances. They say all the things we say. Everything.
They're a mirror. They're a mirror. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and even the stuff that you wouldn't even think they would have heard.
Mm-hmm.
Rosie is kind of like a mini me. Rosie's twin too. She looks like me. She acts like me.
Mm-hmm.
She will say things 2 months later that I said just kind of off the cuff, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, Addie is like Shayna, very analytical, incredibly smart. Nothing gets past her, and she will say things that you say pretty much off the cuff. She'll pick it up, it's in her head.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to there's times where I have to say, oh, don't say that. In my head, I have to filter myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm just sort of
I'm the same way. Yeah.
Right.
No filter.
So I have to think for a minute and go, okay, is this going to add worth to their being a child? are they going to take this to school? Am I going to get called from the school and say, hey, they're dropping?
Yeah.
You know? Um, so I think that working through the issues with a third party who doesn't have, like you said, there's no judgment, you can take that back to your family, and that makes you a better parent, a better dad, a better man. I think that in turn will help. At least it helps me with my kids, because I can go, okay, I need to go take a deep breath outside. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And by this point, the kids know what that means.
Yep.
When I first started doing that, they were like, what are you talking about? But when I go outside to just take a deep breath, they're cool with it. They're like, okay, see you in 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's perfect. I just was interested in knowing. I don't want to spend too much time going through like a whole birth story or anything. But obviously, you guys have twins. So I just kind of wanted to. Was there anything from start to finish of the birth and pregnancy thing that like struck out at you? Like what was it like when you were sitting there and they were like, oh, there are 2 heartbeats, or like what was that experience like? Was there anything that happened throughout that process that you feel is noteworthy? I mean, obviously the whole thing is noteworthy, but
well, yeah. I mean, the I guess I'll give you sort of the highlights, but yeah, the highlights are when we walked in and they handed us the singleton folder. They're like, oh, here you go. Here's your folder. Here's how you take care of your baby. Blah blah blah. Oh, let's take a look. And they put the probe up to check for the heartbeat, right? And right away, and you can see it clear as day. They were die twins, 2 sacks, right?
Oh,
Two
man,
sacks,
yeah.
2 umbilical cords, and you can see it. It's right there
Yeah.
on the screen. And Shayna even looked at me because I could tell right away. I was like, "There's 2," and she looks at me. She goes, "Why is my uterus split like that?" And the OB goes, the only 3 words she said, "Oh, there's 2."
Yep.
Goes outside, takes the singleton folder out of my hand, which I kind of like fought her for a second. I was
Yeah.
like, wait, really? This is really happening?
Yeah.
Brings us in the twins folder, and she had twins. The OB did.
Oh, okay.
From that point on in the appointment, Shayna will back me up. I blacked out, and I just laughed. I don't remember anything she said. I just laughed the whole time, and when she was trying to get tracing for the heart rate, I was laughing so hard she couldn't like get the probe to hold still. And I was holding Shayna's hand.
Yeah.
And she's like, I need you to stop laughing or let go. Like,
Yeah.
just because I just kept laughing. But the only thing she said to me was, I know what you're feeling right now. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I was like, it is gonna be okay. And then, like Shayna was a trooper. She carried the twins all the way to 37 weeks and change.
Wow.
They were gonna induce her 38 weeks. And you know Shayna, she's 5'2", the poor thing.
37 weeks with twins is, I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah. I mean, a soldier, really, truly. Yeah, she was amazing. There was a couple times where Rosie would flip, breech vertex.
Oh, yep.
And she had to make a decision at one point. I think it was around 34 weeks. The OB said, okay, she keeps flipping. If she is breech at delivery, C-section or breech vaginal delivery. As a NICU therapist, I've been to a couple of these breech vaginal deliveries. There's one doctor at UVM Medical Center who does them. And I won't go into any really the details, but it's, you're taking a baby the other way out. So a lot of doctors won't do it because it's very high risk.
Sure.
So I think a lot of doctors are like, don't want the risk on that one. And understandably so. Like, there's a lot of things that could happen.
It seems unnecessary. Yeah, almost unnecessary, yeah.
But right at the very last second, that day, or maybe like a couple days prior, she flipped one more time. So
okay.
She was head down. She was up high, but she was head down.
Yep.
And then the last part of the highlights was they have 2 birthdays. Addie was born 10:45 at night. 10:32 at night. Rosie was born 3:44 the next morning, October 19th and October 20th.
That's awesome.
Vaginal delivery, I know it's very unique, but it was an incredible thing. And any dad knows this. I felt incredibly useless the whole time. It was just like, I'm here to provide some support.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, you got this, honey, but like, I don't know. I'm a fixer. I want to fix things.
Sure.
As a healthcare practitioner, it's hard to sit there and not be at the warmer, Even the NICU people who saw me, they're like, "Your dad.
Yeah.
You're not an RT today. Your dad." And
Right,
okay.
you went to UVM, and at the time you were working there.
Correct.
Yeah. So you probably knew most of the people that were, or knew some of the people at least that were part of that whole experience.
I knew pretty much everybody.
Okay.
I knew all the OBs. I knew most of the nurses. I knew all the NICU team.
Yeah.
So, and they all knew me too. So, and then my mom, who was a labor delivery nurse there for 40 years,
Oh.
Was there too. So they were,
Wow.
So, not she's retired now, but she was in there and just helping out.
Yep. So. It's So yeah, I mean, it's great that they have two different birthdays now, right? Because they're Shayna's not currently giving birth. I have to imagine at the time. So how long was the labor? How long was was it before baby one came out?
I think I want to say she started having contractions on Monday morning at like 3:00 in the morning.
Okay.
And she loves telling the story of how I had the car packed. As soon as she woke me up, she's like, "I'm having contractions." Boom, everything was in the car in like 10 minutes. And she's like, "Slow down." And I'm like, "No." We're not doing like this whole home birth thing.
Yeah.
Man. Just the twins, no way.
Sure.
So, and then I think she was contracting all day, and then Tuesday morning, her contractions had pretty much slowed down to almost nothing again, which is, you don't want to. By 5 a.m., I said, call the doc. Long story short, we went to the appointment, met with the OB. She's like, "Yep, go to the hospital." And it was Tuesday night.
Okay.
Addie was born, and then Wednesday morning, Rosie was born.
Yeah, I just have to imagine that after the first one comes out, and now you're like waiting. It's like another 5 hours.
Yeah, it's usually like 5 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Times, usually.
In that moment, it probably wasn't so great that they were going to be on 2 different days. It was probably not.
We had no idea.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're waiting around for a bit, and then the doc kind of looks down. And she's like, "Well, you have to go." We were in the OR because with twins,
Yep.
It's just high risk. They took us back to the delivery room. Shayna is latching with Addie, and then she's contracting with Rosie.
Oh.
And I'm like, what is that?
Yeah. Just it's just
wild.
Yeah, that's just I mean, so I didn't experience this until very, very recently. But Megan we had C-sections for both. Mm-hmm. And actually they both were breech in the same way. It's like there's a specific type of breech, and they were both there. And so I recently was like, oh man, I'm never gonna be able to go through the labor. Like, I'm never gonna get to be the guy going through the labor process with his partner. But I would imagine, because I'm also a fixer, I think, not to make things gendered, but I do find that men tend to be like, all right, how do we solve the problem? And
yeah, that's fine. It is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I probably would not have been the best labor partner, because I probably would have been like, can I do this? Can I do that? And Megan probably would have been like, just leave me the alone. Just like, leave me alone. Yeah, you know how you can fix this? You can leave the room.
I think I just, knowing who Shayna is, working in healthcare, I was able to sort of remove myself and just detach. And I was just kind of like, I'm going to keep my mouth shut because I know too much.
Yeah.
And I'm just not going to say anything unless she asks me a question that I can give a simple answer to.
Sure.
The only thing she said, or the only thing I said to her as we walked in, I just said, trust the team.
Yeah.
That's it. I said, when they say push, you push.
Yeah.
That was it. And I think, towards the end with Rosie, when she was getting ready to push Rosie out, I mean, she had been through it, man. Like, it was like 48 hours of like, and then she had just been, there was another 5 hours in between births. So she was bushed. And then, I think I just had to give her a little extra encouragement, and then out comes Rosie. but man, yeah, there was a time where I was like, boy, wow. um, so yeah, for me personally, I think I know myself. I'm like, all right, keep it zipped. Like, let her do her thing.
Yep.
I'll kind of deal with all my internal stuff.
You,
Back here over here in the corner.
you strike. I mean, and of course, being in the medical field, I would assume that you have to develop this skill anyways. But you strike me as the kind of person who listens first and talks second, anyways.
Yeah, and there's a part of me that I can compartmentalize who I am as a person outside of the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Put that away, and I become respiratory therapist Kevin.
Sure.
Where all of that goes away. It's funny. I've had friends who I've seen in the hospital, and they're like, "Yeah, you're like a totally different person."
But you have to be. I mean, it's
you have to be.
yeah.
You can't. You wouldn't survive. And I just go, yeah, because you're dealing with many different things as an RT, but especially in some place very very emotional, like labor and delivery and mother baby unit. You just like, and I'm like, I'm just dad. I'm here to support my wife through delivery, and whatever she needs, I'm there for her. But as far as I'm concerned, I just kept it zipped.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing that, because I mean, how many people with twins get to have, I mean, as like I'm not a twin, but I would imagine that your kiddos, as they get older, it'll be really nice for them to like, one of them gets a day, the other one gets another day. So even though Shannon had to wait 5 hours in between,
well, I saw one of your questions was like, how do you honor each kid individually?
Yeah.
And I think one of the big things we have really focused on is the fact that you do have your separate birthday. This is your day.
Yeah.
So when they get older, that day is Addie's birthday. So Addie gets to pick what we do that day.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day is Rosie's birthday. And we get to do what Rosie wants to do on that day. And it's funny because the first couple of years, they had no idea.
Sure.
But this year, it was the first time they kind of, we told them what was going on. And I said, happy birthday, Addie, you're 4 years old. And Rosie had this look on her face like, I'm not 4. She even said it to me. She goes, what do you mean I'm not 4? And I'm like, well, honey, you actually had another birthday. It was the next day. Still doesn't quite.
Sure.
But then the next day, I just woke up and I was like, Rosie, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. She's like, I'm 4. So, we're just planting that seed a little bit. But I think making sure that they have that special day for themselves. And I know just talking to a couple of twins that I grew up with, and then also twins that I've met either in work or I know a twin or something. They're always like, I wish I had my own birthday. I wish I had my own, because I always had to share a birthday with
sure.
my sibling.
Yeah. No, it's super. I mean, it's wildly special. So, but yeah. So you mentioned the birthdays as being ways that you have like special things, because I've known a lot of twins, and like even as adults, I've known twins who like dress the exact same way, and it's like if they're happy doing that and that's something that they want to do, that's great. But I do wonder how much of that is like parents wanting to make sure, we're all wearing the same things and like it's so cute. And I mean, even with our kiddos, we buy outfits in different sizes because it's cute to put your kids in matching outfits. It's like there's something really cute about that. But I have an almost 5-year-old and I have a 2-year-old, and they are completely distinct, separate individuals that share nothing in common except the fact that like obviously they came from us. You have 2 completely distinct individuals who do share a tremendous amount. So how have you guys honored sort of that individuality, or what are some things you're thoughtful of in regards to that?
This is I think any twin parent who's listening to this will probably relate. It's really hard to make sure you're giving each kid the right amount of filling their cup every day, because you're always going to get pulled literally in 2 different directions.
Yeah.
And it, as they get more mobile and as they get more into what their interests are, it's going to start to it's going to start to go like this.
Yeah.
Unless they're completely the same person, which I'm sure there are twins out there like that, and triplets and everything else. These girls are very different. They do share some similar likes and interests.
Sure.
But Rosie is very active. She wants to work out with Dad. She wants to go outside all the time. It could be blowing snow and -20, and that kid wants to go make a snow fort and a snowman.
Yeah.
She's very much into. She loves to color, which is kind of interesting, and she loves to read. Like, she will sit and read a book quietly by herself for a long time, cover to cover, just flip through the whole book. Addie's very analytical. She loves to build things. She does love to color, but she loves to do Play-Doh more.
Okay.
She loves to make Play-Doh. She actually is getting quite good at painting people, which is interesting. Rosie loves the flow of color, and Addie's more like people and things, and how does everything get put together? Like, what makes everything work? She actually asked me a question recently at bedtime. She goes, "What does everything mean?" And yeah,
okay.
Right? So, and I go, "Well, what do you?" I said, "Do you mean everything or everything?" She goes, "Everything." And I said, "Well, why don't I show you instead of tell you what everything means, so I can show you how things are put together?" She wants to know, like, even when she was a baby, like the baby bouncer, she would bounce in it, but then she would look at the spring, and she would want to like reverse engineer the spring bouncer. So Addie's very much into like what makes everything tick and move.
Right.
Rosie's also very much a people person. Like, she's very outgoing. She will, if somebody's not dancing or partying or playing a game, she will get you involved. And she's like, "I'm not asking, you're playing with me. This is what we're doing." Addie is very much like, "Can you please read a book to me? Can we cook some food together? Can we clean the floor?" Very practical things.
Yep.
So I think, anyway, to answer the question, it's you have to make some sacrifices sometimes, and we have sort of set this boundary of, I'm going to give time to Addie right now. You're welcome to come join me, but right now I'm hanging out with Addie.
Right.
I think you may have. I mean, at least in our case, one of the kids, Rosie, can play by herself independently pretty well.
Yeah.
Addie needs that kind of one-on-one interaction, so I make sure that I give her a lot of that throughout the day. So I think it's just understanding what each kid needs throughout the entire day, and making sure that you're really paying attention to, can I let one of the kids go off for a little longer and play by themselves so I can give more time to this other kiddo. When it comes to dressing, like, they love playing dress up. Rosie more so than Addie, but Addie will get into it. But Addie really, she's into, like, I want my clothes to I want them to match. She's very much like, I want this, and she'll pick out her pants and a shirt. Rosie's like, I want to wear a leotard and go out in the gym and work out with you. And so I think it's just, it comes down to you're watering their strengths right now.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for what they're not good at.
Right.
I don't really care. But it's watering what they want to do. Like, you want to color with me? Great. Let's, we colored for a half hour before bedtime tonight.
Wow.
Addie will read as many books as you will let her read. There was a time for a while I was reading 6 books at bedtime to her, and I had to sort of cut it back, because I was like, okay, we're going on 45 minutes of reading books, and I love it, but...
Snuz is like that. And, like Snuz is reading. Megan puts her to bed, and it's like they trade off. So, like, Megan will read a page, and then Snuz reads a page. And then we put her into bed, and then she just proceeds to read through stacks of books.
Yeah.
And she'll just, she's like that, where she'll just sit and read that's like, she said the other day, she's like, reading is my favorite thing.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can tell, like, I mean, the more you read, the more they pick up. Even
Yep.
if they don't see the word yet, we're just starting to notice this. Like, they'll read the book,
Mm-hmm.
Brown Bear, what do you see?
Yep.
And they know what each page signifies. They know what each, what the subject is and all that. Yeah, so I think it comes down to just watering what each kid is really good at and making sure you're really giving, when you're in it with each kid, giving it 150%. There have been days for me where I'm building magnetiles over here with Addie, and I'm reading a book to Rosie over here, just because it just is what it is.
Yeah.
And you make it work. By the end of the day, Shane and I are pretty exhausted.
Sure.
I mean, any parent is. So, but I think there are days where you have to adjust how you approach it. So we kind of let them kind of dictate the day of, like, can they play more independently? Do we need to be more involved? But yeah, making sure that each one of them really gets that good quality time with us.
It's fascinating because everything you just said to me applies to any parent with multiple children, right? Like, there's because, like, for sure I have two distinctly different children. They could not be more different. One of them, like you said, like my first is, she's cautious. She can sit independently and read. She's very content to sit in color for extended periods of time. She loves to dance. She loves make believe. She loves using her imagination. She can sit and talk to her stuffies for forever. She likes to sing. And my second one cannot sit still for more than 3.5 seconds. She has to be moving her body. I can't brush her teeth in the morning because she is constantly moving her body. I've had to tell her, like, I'm going to hurt you because you won't stop moving. Like, this is in your mouth. I need you to stop wiggling your body. And she can't. She cannot do it. But I think what's different is I have two different kids at two different ages that have two different skill sets. And so I've had an opportunity to have one and be focused on one for that stretch of time. You and Shayna have not. And so I think for many parents with twins, it's probably very difficult, as you said, to water the different strengths, because, I mean, I'm doing it with two now, and it's very difficult. It's very difficult to have two kids saying, I need your attention, but I want to do distinctly different things. My oldest is 5, so, like, I can say to her, look, I'm going to give you time. I'm going to give it to you, but I need to be with your sister right now. And the oldest will then play along, she's like, whatever. I'm kind of more easygoing. I'll kind of go along with anything. But when you've got 2 6-month-olds or 2 2-year-olds or 2 3.5-year-olds, it's a different ball game entirely.
And I think we get the question a lot of, how do you do it with twins? How do you do it with two of the same age? Sometimes we kind of laugh and say, I don't know how you do it with a toddler and a newborn.
Sure.
Right? Because they're both sleeping right now.
Yeah.
Like, they're going through the same developmental progressions.
Yeah.
At the same time. And I think we didn't have a choice of, okay, we have the first kid and then the second kid. It was just kind of like, we don't know any different. There have been times where I'm with one of them, like if one kid is sick, and Addie wants to go to gymnastics, I'll take her, and it's just her and I'm kind of like, this feels really weird having just one kid. You know what I mean? And I'm always like, is this what it's like to have one kid? I don't want to say it's easy, because it's not. It's just like it's different.
Easier than 2, for sure.
Sure, yeah, but like, and I say to everybody, I said, everybody's heart is hard. Whether you have one kid or 12. Yeah. Everybody's heart is hard, right? Sure. But, yeah, I think we started, I mean, I'm not going to lie, the first year was incredibly challenging. Like, nobody slept. There were so many rocky periods where Shayna and I were like we went through it for sure, and I think there were times where I've slept on the couch many nights, not because of what we were going through,
Right.
like her and I marital wise, but just having the kids downstairs just so she can get some sleep.
Yeah. Well, and like I got to go through it a second time with knowledge, right? So you guys are like, we've never been parents before, and now you're in it with two, right? So
Yes.
like, yeah, that first year for all new parents. I mean, I don't know a single new parent who's like, I loved the first year with my firstborn. I would absolutely go and do that over again. I don't know a single person who can say that. It is very hard. It is.
Yeah.
It will try you. I mean, at least for me. I mean, I that kid broke me. Like, the kid broke me over and over and over again, and I had to like put myself back together again, and I came back stronger each time. You know, it's like, all right, I'm a different person now, but yeah, to then do it with two, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, and you know, we were talking about this last night. We did the sleep training from the get go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Ferber method. You let them cry it out for a few minutes,
Yeah.
and go in and settle them down. It's like, I think it's like 10 minutes or something.
Yep.
And so many people thought that was odd that we were doing that, and we're like, look, we need some sleep. They need to be able to go to sleep.
Yeah.
I don't judge what any other parent does with their
Sure.
child. It's their child.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, we need to do this. And Shane and I were both very much like, no, this is happening.
Yeah.
But recently, Rosie's been having some trouble settling down at night, so either myself or Shayna will go in, rub her back,
Yep.
and she'll eventually just go out and go to sleep. And Shayna was on back row duty last night, and she came in here and she goes, you know, it actually is really sweet to do that. Like, you're like the Ferber method. They're like, don't keep holding the baby until they're
Yep.
asleep. Like, let them do it themselves. Blah blah blah. Right. But there are times where like you get to like rub their back, and then you get to watch them go to sleep, and then
Yep.
you get to watch their like sweet little sleeping face, and it's really sweet. I'm kind of like, man, this is really great. And then the next day, when I happened to get her to sleep one night, she was like giving me lots of hugs. We were like, she was inseparable. So there is that bonding component, right? But that first year, man, we were like, how do we get to the point where we are getting sleep? That was literally the only thing on our mind.
Yeah.
Just so A, we didn't kill each other,
Mm-hmm.
and B, we could just like keep the house from falling apart.
Yeah.
Like, every project that we had was on hold. The house was like the stuff that was going on in the house internally. Like, we had to hold everything off for a while. I'm just starting to catch up with repairs now.
Yep.
That have been on hold
Yeah. For 4 years.
for plus years, you know. Yeah, going through it with two at once. You're right. Like, we didn't have the knowledge, and I think, yeah, if we were to have another child, we're good with twins, by the way.
Yeah. Sure.
We would have that extra knowledge of like, okay, this is the sleep regression, this is what we do here,
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. But we're like in the sleep.
Yeah.
Sleeping has been very
Yeah.
nice.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're right though, because like we decided to have a second, and Snuz was, what was she, almost 3 when Mouse was born, and so we went from like a kid who was at this point like mostly sleeping, like pretty much fully potty trained, to like being back in it with the sleeping and the diapers and all this stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's totally, you only know what you know, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing you mentioned, and I have other friends that have 2, you know, that they had one and then a few years later had a second, and so you're Addie's the first one,
Correct.
Rosie was the second one.
Yes.
And it sounds like, and I mean, I could be completely wrong, but just based on the way you described them, Addie seems to be the one who maybe is like more likely to sit with a book, or to build something, or to color, or you said to use Play-Doh. And Rosie is like, I need to be moving my body. I need to like go do something. And I have found pretty commonly that the first tends to be like the more sort of I can sit still and do something. And the second one tends to be the I need to go and move my... And there are a bunch of reasons for that, I think. I mean, I think as parents, we're way cautious with the first one, whereas the second one, we're like, have at it. The first one gets our full attention, whereas the second one is like, I'm going to give you as much as I can, but like I can't. So they kind of have to figure out how to fend for themselves. And I think the biggest thing is, which this wouldn't be the case for you guys, although I guess they might have been playing off of each other, is the second one wants to do everything the first one can do, but the first one is several years older. So when Snuzz is climbing up something to go down a slide, Mouse is like, oh yeah, I can do that too. And it's like, I'm not going to tell you can't do that, but I'm going to suggest that maybe you don't. And the amount of times that we've had like heart attacks watching Mouse do things. But it's interesting that you had twins that are coming out at the same time, and yet they've kind of followed this like general way of like what 1 and what 2 are like.
Yeah, for the most part. It's interesting because Rosie is like that. She's a tornado, and I say that in the most loving
yeah.
way. But she has an off switch. She can sit and read a book and completely be like still. I'm talking for a while. Probably good 15-20 minutes of just like reading a book by herself. Addie, on the other hand, is more cautious, but she does need that kind of mental stimulation. Like she needs some background noise. She needs music. Mm-hmm. She needs somebody talking. If it's too quiet for a little while, it makes her uncomfortable. She's kind of like, can we listen to a Disney story on Spotify? Can we... why is it so quiet in here? Can somebody talk to me?
Yeah, okay.
So they have little bits that are like very... you can tell Addie's the first child, for sure.
Yeah.
She's cautious. She's very, very protective of Rosie. She's always kind of like the mother hen, and she's known as the mother hen at her school too. She makes sure all the kids have their outdoor gear on when they're going outside.
That sounds like Shayna.
Yeah, she's just, I'm not kidding, man. She's like Shayna 2.0. And then Rosie is on the flip side. She is like a bull in a china shop.
Yeah.
But incredibly affectionate. Like, she is so loving. She's such a lovable kid. Mm-hmm. We recently got them into jiu-jitsu, and Addie, of all kids, is really having a great time with it.
Okay.
Because she can put that kind of energy, I think, that she keeps in here out.
Okay.
Whereas Rosie, all of a sudden, is like, the teacher's like, okay, like, get the back, and she doesn't want to do it because she's like being all gentle.
She doesn't want to hurt anyone.
I don't want to hurt anybody, but she's built. She's very like, she's powerful. She's very powerful. But it's interesting to see that. And Shane and I are like, that's weird, because you'd think it would be the opposite way. Whereas Addie's like, no, let's do this. Let's get it on. And I'm like, so yeah. Anyway,
it's interesting.
It's interesting to see the differences, but they definitely have things that are like, oh, I didn't expect that.
So I know that CrossFit has become a pretty important part of your life, and I think Shayna's life as well. And so I'm just, this might seem obvious, but I'm just wondering what sort of drove that? Was it like becoming a dad? Did that have an impact? Because I can't recall if you started CrossFit at around the same time or slightly before, slightly after. And then also, obviously, I see your posts at 5 a.m. when it's like -3 degrees out. It's like, but how do you with kids? I mean, I know I have a hard time finding time to work out. I work from home, so it makes it a little bit easier. But how do you find the time to continue to be focused on that with 2 kiddos?
Yeah, I started CrossFit in 2015.
Okay.
And then I really got into it, actually going to consecutive classes in 2016. So I've been doing it for a long time. The community is great. So if we were to bring the girls to the gym, there's always somebody there to watch them. Mm-hmm. And they know who they are. They know the girls. The girls know it's either one of the moms, one of the dads, and they all get along great. And we have a great village, and everybody supports everybody there. So I think To answer the question of, and I think this is something I'm becoming more aware of as I'm a dad now, is that, it is, it is very challenging in this world to, even if you're not a parent, find the time to work out, find the time to exercise. And I think what you have to do is you have to be a little bit disciplined. You have to have a time set where you're like, I'm going to do this. It's going to take me 1 hour tops. And sometimes I get through a full session. Sometimes I don't. Like, there are times when I will get through the warm-up and the garage door opens at 5:15 and Rosie's like, I want to play with you. And I'm like, okay.
All right,
well,
that's
that
it.
was that.
Yeah.
In which case I will, at nighttime, before I go to bed, I'll stretch for like 20 minutes. I'll do like a full stretch routine, and that's that. There have been times where I've done a full workout at 9 p.m. Many, 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 many times. I know that's not unique for everybody. I know that everybody's got a different set of circumstances, but you can find a time to do something, whether it's taking a walk, bring your kids along. The girls have joined me in the garage when I'm working out.
Yeah.
Like, they'll come out there and watch me squat.
Yep.
I've done Olympic lifts where you're moving the barbell to your shoulders and then up over your head, a very heavy barbell.
Yeah.
And then they know to kind of stay away. Obviously, I'm making sure they're not around. Like, but they've watched me go through pretty much a full workout, and it takes, 60 minutes. And they will sometimes join me. Like, Rosie will jump over a box. Addie will go to the bench, and she'll sit there just like you are right now with her arms crossed, and she'll say, I'm your coach now. So they love it. They love it. And I think if they see you doing these things, at least with my girls, it's sort of just ingrained in them. Like, this is what you do. You take care of your body. I know that personally, being 37, I'm stronger and fitter now than when I was 27. Even 21. I know that for a fact. And I think that I want to be able to, in 30, 40, 50 years, be there when they need me.
Yeah.
In any capacity. When they call me, at any time, anywhere, I'm there for my kids.
Yeah.
Anywhere in the world. I don't want my health to be the limiting factor of that. So I think I am very passionate of, I understand people are busy, but if you can find the time to carve out an hour each day, and it doesn't have to be the same time every day, just find the time. Because I promise you it's there. You just got to find it. And I'm not going to lie. Waking up at 4:30 to go outside and do some deadlifts when it's -2 outside
sucks.
Buddy, it sucks. It really does. But I know I'm making a deposit in the bank.
Yeah.
And every time I finish a workout, like this morning, it was really cold out there.
Yeah.
I was like through the warm up, and I'm like, I don't want to do this. I really don't.
Yeah.
By the time I started getting through my workout, I was feeling better and better. And then I'm like, you know what? You did it. And I finished the entire session 6:15-ish.
Yeah.
It was like a 75-minute session. And I was really proud of myself. And I walked back inside, and it was warm. I had some coffee. It was great. I had my protein shake. So I think that if you're setting that example for yourself, and you're setting yourself up for a good day, just by doing a hard thing first thing when you wake up, everything else seems easier.
Yeah.
Because you've been out in that freezing garage where there's no heat.
Yeah.
Lifting some heavy steel, and then you come in and your kids are like, Dad, let's play, and you're like, let's go.
Yeah.
And I know that when I was up in Maine with my girls and we were on the beach and they are just running, I mean, like, they're getting fast at a good clip across the beach. I wanted to be able to keep up with them and not get winded. And there have been times throughout my life where I have noticed if I'm going up a flight of stairs, all of a sudden I'll start breathing kind of heavy, and I go, "Oh, you better get back out in that gym, buddy." Even the past last couple of years, I have definitely fallen off for like once in a while. I'll get lazy.
Yep.
It happens. But I think if you can stay disciplined to the point where you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, whether it's 5 o'clock in the morning or after bedtime. And I've done both. And I'm not going to say either one's easier.
Sure.
I've worked out during their nap times. When they were newborns, I brought them out in the garage with me when they were napping in their little cocoon, like little heat thing. And I'm doing a full 2-hour session while they're napping. Because I'm like, might as well.
This is what I can get
watch
it.
duty here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's what it comes down to, is just making sure that that discipline is... So now, for me, just because of how I've done it, it's automatic.
Mm-hmm.
I wake up, I'm out of bed within a minute, because I'm like, if I hit that snooze button, it's over. So I will literally make myself sit up and get out of bed. I will kick the covers off and get out.
Yeah.
And I just, because I have to. But once I'm up and moving and down, get my coffee out in the garage, it's just automatic now. But I think I've just had that for so long. And my kids have noticed that. So I think it's just setting that good example. And I'm not going to like make them work out with me, but if they're like, can we work out with you? I'm like,
yeah.
And it's fun. We have a great time. And we're out there and they're like, what can I do? And I'll hand them like a little band. And I'm like, do this. Or like, here's a couple little tiny dumbbells. Do some curls. And we make it fun to make it seem like this is just normal life, man. Because it is.
Yeah. And they are, so I have a Peloton and I do a mixture of riding and lifting and stretching and for sure they're on the days where I'm like, I really don't want to do this. All I have to do is think of them. I'm like, yeah, okay, yes. I'm going to go do it. Cause it's like, I do want to keep up with them. And like, I'm trying to live long enough so that way they don't have to like, spend too much time without me, or, as they get older, I want to be able to go on those hikes, and I want to run up Cadillac Mountain at 3 in the morning with them. And
absolutely.
I can't do that if I'm living on the couch. So, Peloton now has these like family fit cardio things, and they're very, very cheesy, but like Snuz today was like, let's do one of those. That was the first time that she was like, I want to do that. And so like, she's doing like, the best push-up she can, and she's like doing squats and whatever, and it's like, it's great. It's awesome. The fact that she's like, I want to go do this. It's like, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing here.
Yeah, it's great. And there's there's a group, I'm sure a lot of group fitness classes do all this, but like Peloton, CrossFit has a CrossFit Kids. And I've noticed my kids are not old enough to do it right now. But when I would watch the kids at the other gym prior that I was at in Albany do it, they were loving it, because they're like, I'm doing what mom and dad are doing.
Yeah.
And they're like lifting with PVCs, and they're jumping over boxes. They get to pull a Jeep with a rope, and there's like 12 of them, and they're all pulling the Jeep across the parking lot.
That's great.
It's just fun, and just makes it fun to make it seem like, no, this is good for you. It's healthy for you. You can make it fun. It doesn't have to be this grindy thing.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that's what it comes down to, and I think if your kids see you enjoying it, they'll, at least with my girls, they'll associate like that's what dad does, that's what mom does, because they'll see Shayna out there doing it too.
Yeah. And
they are like, can I come work out with you? Absolutely.
Yeah. So you've kind of talked about this already, and obviously, that we talked about that first year and how difficult that can be on a relationship. But what are some ways in which your relationship with your partner have changed with having kids? Obviously it changes drastically, but what are some, maybe like a few like salient things that you've noticed have changed, and how do you guys like manage the chaos that comes with I would imagine it's very difficult to find time for the two of you when you've got two little ones running around.
Yeah. The free time is definitely very limited. But I think our relationship has gone through a really interesting one. Like, so in the very beginning, Shayna was very set on, she wanted to breastfeed, and I was like, I'm gonna support you no matter what. I just want the babies to be happy and healthy, and I want you to be happy and healthy. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
And I think that in the beginning, the girls they were so small when they were born. We had a supplement with SNS tubing while they were breastfeeding. So you hold a syringe and a catheter and you put it in the corner of their mouth while they're breastfeeding.
I remember this.
And it can like poke at the mom's breast, and it's really uncomfortable. And it was starting to get to me in the beginning, which is interesting because I'm just holding the syringe.
Yeah.
She's the one doing the work. But I was like, I feel like I'm not doing this right.
Yep.
And then I was taking it more personally than I should have. Looking back, and there was actually a point in the hospital where I got so frustrated one time I had to like walk out.
Yep.
And she thought I was like skipping town or
yeah.
something. She even texted me like, please come back. And
yeah.
I'm just down in the cafeteria having a banana or something just to like cool off. I think, but then as we progressed as parents and as we've learned how our brains tick together, we've gotten to be very strong as a couple. Like, watching my wife go through childbirth was one of the most inspiring, coolest things I've ever seen in my life. I've never been more proud of her than in those few days, because I know it's something I never would have the mental, physical capability of doing, obviously being a guy, but also just watching her go through that, enduring what she did, and just, I don't know, it was so inspiring to me, and I've never loved her so much than following childbirth. It's hard to describe it because it was such a meaningful experience. And I'm sure any dad who's gone through, watched their wife go through childbirth, probably felt the same way. So I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but like, I love my wife so damn much because of just watching her go through that.
Sure.
And I think that we're very strong now because we're on the same page when it comes to parenting. We're so collaborative that we have to. Some people wonder why we don't really fight. We don't have a couple fights. And again, this isn't on any other couple in the world. This is just our situation. Yeah. We don't fight. Because a few things, personally, I think just we are on the same page with a lot of things. We certainly have our disagreements.
Yeah.
We definitely have colorful disagreements. But it doesn't get into like a yelling thing.
Right.
There's a lot of love where she knows when I need my space. I know when she needs her space. And from the very beginning of being parents, I've been try to be respectful of when she needs that. So I think we have a very strong relationship because we're both very aware of what the other one needs at a time. I'll make, like, since the beginning, I've made Shannon go be with her friends for a few hours, like go out for a drink, go take a girls' trip to North Carolina. She has woken me up in tears in the middle of the night, breastfeeding, tapped out. I can't do it anymore. And I'm like, got it. And no questions asked. Just grab the baby, downstairs, bottle, in the swing, out. And I go sleep on the couch. So just to give her some sleep. And I think that she, on the flip side, will give me that time to go be with my friends, go to the gym. When I was working night shift as a respiratory therapist, she was doing bedtime since the girls were born, for 6 days every 2 weeks by herself. Very challenging. So I'm highly aware of that, and I think just being aware of where your partner is every day, where your wife, where your husband is, it will strengthen your bond. So I think, but yeah, like I said, watching my wife go through childbirth really puts things in perspective. It never has made me love her more than watching that happen.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you guys have each other's back, and that's like, I think that's what it's all about, right? It's like,
totally.
It's like,
there's,
Brene Brown talks about it. There have been a lot of people who talk about it, but it's like, like, it's not about 50-50, right? Some days it's like you're at 70 and I'm at 30. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to pick up that extra 30 then. Like, it's, I do think that, and I think especially with kids, it's like with our first, I will never forget this, but our first would, for hours before going to sleep, would just cry. And so like, it was like, Megan would be in there. She'd be in there for 30 minutes. I'd be eating dinner by myself, grumbling and being miserable all by myself. And then she'd come out, like you said, crying. She'd be like, "Tag, you're it." And it'd be like, then she would sit and eat, and I would be in there for 30 minutes. And it's, it's like, it's the communication, before having kids, communication is super important, right? But you can get away with like, not always talking about every single thing, but when you've got kids, like, you are sleep deprived, you have little ears around, like, you have to be able to have that communication, because if you don't, you're dead in the water, like, you're done.
Yeah, and I think, again, the kids see and hear everything, right? They see when I hug my wife. They see when I kiss her.
Yeah.
And they get this little smile on their face when it happens.
Yeah.
Because they kind of know, like, oh, there's something good here,
Yeah.
And they'll even say to me, like, "Hey, why do you call Mom honey?" I'm like, "'Cause she's my honey."
Yeah.
And they'll ask Shayna, like, "Why do you call Dad honey?" And she's like, "'Cause he's my honey."
Yeah.
And I think, that whole thing, like you said, about having each other's back is so key. Example kind of similar to yours. We were on vacation in South Carolina. We were having every night bedtimes were a disaster. They were in these little sleeping pods in the same room, and I'm not kidding you. They were on one side of the queen bed, another side of the queen bed. Shayna was in there for an hour rubbing their backs. She walked out. She was like, "Tag." And she actually went out. I think she went for a walk on the beach.
Sure.
Probably a good thing.
Yeah. After an hour, it's like, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't know how she lasted that long.
Yeah.
And I was in there with them, and they eventually went to sleep. But it was one of those things of like, I got it. Go do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And I think we also understand with our house is like our castle.
Mm-hmm.
And we are the sort of the guardians of the castle, and like we are obligated to be the protectors of our children in any capacity. So I think that she and I understand what that means to us personally. Every parent is different, every couple is different, every kid is different, right? So, but we are very much of, if we don't agree on something, we'll talk it out.
Yeah.
And there's concessions made on both sides. And I have to give my wife a ton of credit in that she has been there when I've been sick with the flu. I actually have gone to the ER because the kids gave me like a stomach bug from hell.
Oh, God.
And she has like handled it like a champ. There's never been a time where she's like, "Need you to pick up some more slack."
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Because she knows if I could be there, I would be.
Right.
And then vice versa. Like, I know when she's down for the count, I'm like, Mom's sick.
Yeah.
It's me. I'm doing bedtime. I'm doing bath time. That's the way it is. The kids can throw a fit.
Yep.
Fine with me. But I'm like, nope, that's what's happening. And they get it. But I think, again, it goes back to the kids are watching. And if you give your wife a hug, if you give your wife a kiss, they see that.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, that's what love is.
Yeah.
They feel that. And I think that if you just do it, it's a very genuine thing. So I think they see that. They're like, oh, if you have a wife, husband, partner, whatever, and you show that love and affection,
Yeah.
they feel that.
Yeah.
Like, even though, and I said it earlier, like, we don't really have fights, but we've definitely had a disagreement
Sure.
in front of the kids. And I noticed, like, they get really quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really, like, look at you. They'll be pretending to do something else.
Yep.
And I've noticed that. And I think Shane has noticed that, too. And we're like, we got to watch everything we say here.
Yeah.
So we'll continue the disagreement. But it's like, it's not any different than we would have if they weren't there.
Yeah.
But we're just cognizant of, like...
Yeah, just way more
they are
aware of
listening,
it. Yeah.
You know, right? Like, they are right there. And they're watching it, too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I typically end podcasts by asking for one piece of advice, but I feel like that's, I don't know, I feel like that kind of gets away from what the essence of this whole podcast is, because this is not really a podcast about advice. It's more about experience. And so you're going to be the first person I do this with, but I would like to end this episode by asking you, what is like, if you had your druthers and you could decide, I will ensure that my children will have X. What is one core skill, value, something that you really hope, that you impart upon your kids, recognizing that, of course, we have no control over this and they're going to learn whatever it is that they're going to learn. But if you could snap your finger and it's like, this is it. What is a core value, skill, something that you hope that they walk away from with you guys?
I think I thought a lot about this one. Confidence is a big one. I think the confidence to be able to enter any situation and handle yourself appropriately. And I mean, I know that, like, if my kids were to go anywhere in the world, I would want them to have the confidence of, I can take a train in New York City. I can hail a cab in Germany. I can make a fire in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
All my electronics are dead. And I went night skiing, so I need to use the stars to navigate. I know that's a silly example, but
no, it's
having the confidence to know that I can handle myself and I can get through this challenge.
Mm-hmm.
The confidence to walk into any room and have a conversation with someone.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody. And I mean, there have been times where I myself have been in rooms with people who look nothing like me, speak nothing like me at all, and somehow, some way, we find a way to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that is through my job, but through travel too, I've been able to experience some cultures that I never would have been exposed to if I hadn't left the country.
Yeah.
And so I think I would like, if I could snap my fingers and instill that confidence in my kids, to show them any situation you're in, wherever you are in the world, at any time, you're going to be fine. Because what you have learned up to this point has prepared you for this.
Yeah.
My parents did a lot of traveling with my brother and I growing up. because they wanted to expose us to a lot of things, a lot of cultures, a lot of people who look different, talk differently, and I really, really am thankful for that because I know a lot of kids don't have the ability to do that. I know a lot of families don't have the ability to do that. I don't know how my parents did it, but they were able to put together trips that really gave us the confidence of if I go into a third world country, I can navigate and get through it. So I think the confidence of my kids to be able to interact with anyone, the confidence to identify a situation or maybe even a problem and say, I'm going to take a step back and I'm just going to analyze the situation. What's going on here? How do I solve this problem?
Yeah.
Or how do I at least navigate through it that I'm going to come out the other side and maybe I learn something from it. And I think that I try not to make every day like a learning session. I try to be aware of like showing them how I operate in the world, and I'm just one man on a spinning rock, man. I know that the way I do things is different than the way you do things. It's the way that it's differently than even Shayna does things, than even Megan does things.
Yeah.
So, and I want them to understand that, have that confidence of everyone's going to do something differently. We're all going to get to the same thing that we want.
Right.
We're going to approach it from a different angle. And if someone is doing it differently than you, then that's okay. But the confidence of saying, I'm cool with that person doing it their way, I'm going to do it my way.
Yeah.
And sticking to that, I think that's the one big thing I would like to instill in them, if I could snap my fingers.
Sure.
Like you said, out of our control.
Yeah.
But I try to be just mindful of that every day.
Cool. That was great. Yeah. I definitely think, confidence is important. And I think just, the confidence in yourself, right? Like the ability to know that, like, I can handle myself in situations. So, well, thank you so much. You've been so generous with your time. I really appreciate you willing to come on here, and for your being so vulnerable. You know, we were talking before we started this podcast, but I think guys talking about parenting in a vulnerable way is something that is missing from this space a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I appreciate you coming on and being so vulnerable and being willing to talk about all this.
Of course. Yeah, I'm with you in the fact that there needs to be more of this. So I appreciate you having me on because it's great. This is fun.
Yeah.
I hope more guys have the experiences that you and I have, for sure.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks a lot. What a great interview.
Really loved it.
It's a really good one.
Enjoyed every minute listening to it.
Yeah, I always really like talking to Kevin because I think there are a lot of people who speak to like ways that they want to exist in the world, but Kevin's just doing it. He's like, like he is sort of like, he's not talking about the things that he wants to do, he's just putting them into action.
Yeah.
And I really respect that. Every time I see a reel or a post of him working out at 5 a.m. when it's negative 14 degrees out.
Kevin lives his values.
He lives his values, is a good way of saying it. Yeah. So what do you think? I mean, you didn't get to be part of the interview, but you've now listened to it at least 3 times. So.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I have some specific points that we can go through, if that's cool with you.
Let's do it.
So one of the things I really, really connected to was there was a moment where he was talking about how I think I think Shayna was working a lot and he was just kind of around the house thinking, like, it would be nice to have a little buddy to spend some time with. And I remember many summers, or springs rather, where you would be, like, in the garden and fully mapping out your whole spring garden and harvesting and all the planning that goes into that. And, just feeling a little left out and like, what do I do with my spring and summer? And how I also had those thoughts of like, oh, well, when I have a kid, I'll be very busy. So I just thought that was a funny little story he popped in there.
We're deep in the whole like having a little buddy with our oldest now, for sure. Like very much so. Like that's like a little buddy.
Yeah,
it's pretty nice.
They're really sweet little buddies. The other part of this podcast that I just really love, and you guys brought it up a bunch, but I just felt like it was very open and vulnerable, and it was very refreshing to listen to a man. I'm very used to you being open and vulnerable, but it's nice to hear other men connecting and being open with their feelings and open about therapy.
Little bitches.
Yeah. No. And I think we need more of that in this world right now. And I've heard from quite a few female friends how sometimes it can be difficult with their partners who might not want to go to therapy or who are very closed off to the idea. And so I think we need more men being a little more open and willing to talk about their experiences, because then that takes away a little bit more of the stigma.
Yeah, I mean, I've often said that men have not taken up enough space, so we need to take up more space. Just kidding. It's actually one of the things that I have the most difficult time with making new friendships, because I want to get into like the deep nitty-gritty of it all, but most men are. It's like a lot of that stuff is very superficial, and so it can be very difficult. But like my closest guy friends are friends that I like. I mean, we talk about everything. I mean, we're very, very vulnerable and open.
Yeah, and you guys also talked a little bit about how therapy can be preventative, not just reactive. And, you know, up until this point, therapy has seen as you have to be, like, pretty miserable to finally, like, get help for yourself. And I think right now it's becoming a little bit more talked about as, no, like, everyone would benefit from therapy. Even if you're in the best relationship, life's going good, like, sometimes just having that person that you can talk with and have be objective, it can still be extremely beneficial. And then once you do run into things, you already have that set up in your life.
You know, I mean, my therapist, because I go now once a month because, you know, we've worked on a lot of stuff, and really I think at this point I could stop if I wanted to, but my therapist and I talked about it, and I mean, just in that I know that once a month I have an hour where I'm going to shut everything off and I'm just going to take care of myself. That alone, I mean, an hour is not a lot of time once a month, but it is like, it's like set aside self-care time. And like that alone is really, really nice.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not currently in therapy, but I have done therapy in the past, both in college and...
You just want to be one of the cool kids. You're just trying to
recently,
be like, well, I'm not in it, but I've done it.
I've done it. Yeah, I mean, for me, I guess it was more reactive, and that's kind of what I needed in the moment. But I can definitely see that it's helpful all the way around. So, loved that. I connected to, at one point, he, again, talking about therapy, he was saying how it's nice to just say all of what's in his head out loud and get it out and actually have it, like, lifted off of your body. Like, it's out of your body now. And I resonate with that a lot. There were many, many times the last year of my teaching in the classroom where I had so many stories in my brain, like traumatic stories of some of my students. And that was a big reason why I went to therapy this most recent time, was like I needed to get that out. I couldn't sit with it anymore. It was too much on my own body and my own health, and I needed to have someone hear it and then feel like, okay, that's been processed through. So
yeah, there's again, like, in the last couple of years that I've been in therapy, there are a lot of things that I sort of like maybe poo-pooed, but I've now started practicing. Like, it's very zeitgeisty to practice gratitude, and so like that can become a very like, oh yeah, gratitude, great. But when you start to like really implement those sorts of things, you begin to recognize like, oh, this isn't just like therapy speak. Like, there's something to this, and similarly, when you are holding on to stuff, that people talk about like generational trauma, like that there's something that somebody goes through and then that's passed down to their kid and then on and on and on. When you're holding on to something, it has a negative impact on your body. Like it is more than just mental. Like it impacts inflammation. It impacts everything. And so when you say these things, these thoughts in your head that might be causing, more systemic issues, when you say them out loud, you are actually getting rid of them. You are actually releasing them. It's important to get that stuff out.
yeah, there was a moment with my therapist even where it was one of the most traumatic stories that I had ever heard it was a student's situation.
Yep.
And one of my sessions, I was like, I almost don't want to tell you this story because I wish I had never heard it.
Yeah.
And she's like, that is literally my job. Like, I am here for that reason, like, so that you don't have to hold it alone.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, I don't know how therapists do it, honestly.
They also go to therapy.
Yeah, you would have to.
Yeah.
Like, the level of vicarious trauma is just...
Well, I think it gets back to the idea that, like, humans are not meant to be isolated beings. Like, we are social beings. And so, like, we are not meant to go through anything alone. Like,
Yeah.
we are meant to go through life with other people. And so that means we are meant to... our experiences are meant to be shared, both positive and negative. And the people who are the least healthy are the people who are the most isolated. And like, one thing leads to another. Like, you are mentally unhealthy, you isolate yourself from people, which then creates you to be more mentally unhealthy, and like, it's a self-perpetuating machine. The reality is that the best salve for that kind of stuff is connection, is sharing this stuff, is finding other people where you can say things out loud to, and then they look at you and say, yeah, I still love you, I'm still here.
Yeah.
We need that. All humans need that.
Yeah. So true. And then I just have one more point that I was gonna recap that I really enjoyed listening about. He talks about his exercise journey and how he embeds that in his life, and also embeds it in his being a father and having having his kids grow up and see that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's modeling a healthy lifestyle, which I love. I did think it was funny that he said, everyone can find an hour in their day. And I was like, in my own brain, like, whoa, an hour? No, there's no way I can do an hour. Give me 20 minutes. That's doable to me. Like, and actually the way I even got back into exercising was like, if I can do 5 minutes, I'm going to call that a success. And then slowly, as I started to do that, and I'd get 5 minutes under my belt, it was like, once I did a 5-minute thing, it's like, oh yeah, I could do another 10 minutes, and then you just build off that stamina. So
I think
the hours seemed like daunting to hear.
I think like,
but I love that for him.
You could certainly like get into the weeds a bit about time, the amount of time dedicated to it, but I think what he really exemplifies is the idea that this is a practice, and it's something that requires energy and time. And what's most important is that you engage in the practice. So if that means, like you're saying, if that means that you're finding, 10 to 20 minutes a day to do this thing, that is better than not doing that thing. And like, engaging the kids in that activity. I mean, I think that's like, that was my takeaway from that whole portion of it, was like, there's a practice, it's worth engaging in. The most important thing is that you engage in it.
Absolutely. And you're modeling that for your kids to see that you value your health and you value self-care. And I mean, I think it's great that our kids are seeing us dedicate time, and you and I will like tag team, like, I got the kids, you go do what you need to do.
And just, I mean, as an aside, just focusing, our focus is not on like losing weight, and he didn't really mention that, but it is more about living a healthy lifestyle. It's not focused on necessarily the way we look or how much we weigh or anything like that. It's, we eat these sorts of foods because these sorts of foods give my body the nutrients they need. I do these sorts of activities because they give my body the exercise it needs, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Love that. All around great episode. Really enjoyed listening to it. It's always fun to listen to stories with twins, too. I love that they were born on different birthdays.
So great. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Really great.
It's very unique.
Yeah.
So, we do have one shout out for this episode. We got a comment in our last episode, our anonymous letter episode. You said any listeners should reach out if they have enjoyed the baby stage. And we got a comment from Marissa Conti.
Oh.
She said, "We are the lucky or weird ones who have loved every stage so far. We were obsessed with her the second she was born, but that doesn't mean it wasn't difficult at times. And I think this age, currently she's 16 months, is our favorite so far, even though we're developing toddler tantrums now."
Yeah. The toddler tantrums, as long as, like, you're not trying to, like, get them out the door, like, you need them to actively do something, the toddler tantrums are, like, kind of adorable.
Yeah, sometimes we just
like,
sit there and watch.
It's like little tiny humans, like, throwing their bodies on the ground and, like, throwing things around. It's, like, it's definitely, like, not great, but it's pretty darn cute.
Even today, I don't even know what you were saying to her, but Mouse was like, ran into her room super angry, and you were talking to her, and she just, like, stomps her feet.
Yeah, she's
furiously.
she's being like a big human in a tiny body.
Yeah, because they need to get their emotions out physically.
Yeah.
It just needs to leave their body. Like,
yeah.
It's so funny, though. So thank you, Marissa, for your comment. That's awesome.
All right, where can they find us?
Thanks for being a loyal listener. If you want to reach out, we are on Instagram, Pondering Parenthood Pod. If you want to email us, we are at ponderingparenthoodpodcast@gmail.com. Like, follow, subscribe, and share. Share any episodes that you have resonated with you so far.
Yeah, listeners, you aren't. I don't know if I can call you listeners. You're not really listening to our instructions. You need everybody who's listening to this. All 5 of you need to share this with one other person.
By this point, they've already probably turned off the podcast because we're at the very last.
Maybe we need to do this in the beginning.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. All right.
Casey.
I think we did it.
We'll see if he listens all the way through.
Oh, he's one of our most active participants. All right. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.